No, I'm not going to be playing anything on this. I just wanted to showcase that, yes, I did play guitar for as long as I did, about 8 years. Yeah, you could say that this movie made me kind of look back on my guitar lesson days, but, that's the thing of the past. It's just cool to have, but hey, at least the movie kept my interest in thinking about days in which I did play guitar. Probably not good at it anyways.
Like a complete unknown, like a rolling stone.
Plea Unknown is directed by James Mangold with a screenplay by James Mangold and Jay Cox. Film stars Timothée Chalamet, Edward Norton, Elle, Monica Barbaro, Boy Holbrook, Dan Fogler, Norbert, Butz, and Scoot McNairy. According to IMDb's plot synopsis, in 1961, an unknown 19-year-old Bob Dylan arrives in New York City with his guitar and forges relationships with music icons on his meteoric rise, culminating in a groundbreaking performance that reverberates worldwide. Bob Dylan is not only one of the greatest folk singers of his generation, but is considered by many as one of the greatest musicians of all time, and to this day, this man still tours. It's crazy to me that at his age, he is still willing to go up there on that stage and still perform for his fans or for anybody who grew up with some of his music. And, of course, like with all musicians, now we get a biopic about him, and that's not anything new. I mean, biopics have been around for as long as they have been around, and as we all know how biopics tend to go, they're usually just another biopic. It's usually how it goes. But this movie not only focuses on him, but also his transition from electric at the Newport Folk Festival in 1965. And for those who don't know, it was an infamous or famous, if you will, it depends on who you are in the realm of either folk or rock. But Bob Dylan performed at the Newport Folk Festival where he decided to be a little bit let loose and he wanted to do something a little bit different that wasn't just the standard folk stuff. So he went and played electric to a crowd of mostly folk attendees. And the response to that was very much not having it, and they were not happy with it. So this movie also tries to display that. For me, I never grew up with his music. I knew, of course, of Bob Dylan. I knew of his start to that famous Newport Folk Festival incident, and then just knowing that he's just a really talented and very gifted musicianist. But I just now started to listen to his music as of recently, and I actually quite enjoy it. Although I know that my mom would say to me all the time that Bob Dylan sounds like he is dying, but that's just her taste on things. I mean, I'm not going to judge her, although I could, but no. I mean, it's not for everybody. I was hoping not to get another by the numbers biopic, okay? Because let's be honest, there have been so many of them, and a lot of them just tend to be just the same regurgitated stuff that you have seen and watched time and time again. The only exception that I have actually really enjoyed a biopic was something like Rocket Man, and I actually really dug that film. Otherwise, yeah, you get movies like Bohemian Rhapsody, which that hurts me, I think, a lot more than something like Bob Marley's One Love, right? That one still stains. The Bohemian Rhapsody one, that still stains, and the fact that I actually really thought it was amazing. But now having seen this movie, I can say this: it is kind of the by the numbers biopic, but I can say it was exceptional. I really dug this film a lot. I know there probably could be some people who say that this wasn't accurate and all that stuff. Then again, like with a biopic, they tend to be usually skewed to some things were just kind of made up for the movie, but I don't know. Maybe Bob Dylan fans could tell me. I have a friend who said that he loved this movie and he really loves Bob Dylan, so maybe he could tell me if I'm correct or not. But for the most part, I just found this movie to be fascinating and just interesting to watch. Now, I do have one issue with this movie, okay? One issue that holds it back for me, but here are the positives that I have to say. The performances, they are all excellent. They are all top notch. Everyone, especially Timothée Chalamet as Bob Dylan, are amazing all throughout this entire film. From Edward Norton, Ella Fanning, Monica Barbaro, and Boy Holbrook, they all shine alongside Chalamet. And I can see Timothée Chalamet getting an Oscar nomination for this. I mean, as of right now, he got a Golden Globe nomination. I could see him still going for an Oscar nomination for it. If not, that is kind of disappointing because this is obviously a project that he has been passionate about. He was working on this project with James Mangold for about 5 years, and so for him to got not only the mannerisms and sounds of Bob Dylan, but also just playing and singing like Dylan, I think was terrific, and I think he's amazing. But alongside him, the other cast members, they're all excellent, like I mentioned, and I thought it was just amazing performances all around. Direction is fantastic. Director James Mangold is focused and meticulous with how showcasing Dylan's stardom and struggles with what he wants to be. I give James Mangold credit. It's almost like this movie was tailor-made for him in mind as a director because Mangold shows his passion and respect for Dylan and his work so well that I can't think of another director who could take this over. I really can't, because for somebody like James Mangold to come in who has experience with doing a biopic with something like Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash movie that was with Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon, it's just awesome to see him still managing to give us stuff about Dylan that keeps audiences' interest, as well as seeing his struggles with trying to forge his own path and trying to navigate stardom, but in a way that isn't like the stereotypical thing. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But really, James Mangold directed the shit out of this movie, and I respect him all for that because it is amazing direction. The music is terrific. Using Dylan's catalog made for an impactful and touching film. Bonus for all the cast for using their singing voices as well as learning how to play the instruments. And for anybody that was thinking, is that actually Timothée Chalamet singing? Yes, it is. It's actually him singing. It's actually him playing the guitar. It's actually him using the harmonica. It's actually Edward Norton playing banjo. It's actually Monica Barbaro playing guitar and singing, as well as Boyd Holbrook as Johnny Cash playing on the guitar, singing. These guys really, truly cared about this project, that it shows how much of that paid off through them playing these instruments and actually using their voice. Because they could have used audio recording or just the song's records for the voices and just had them pretend to play guitar, but no, they actually had them all play these instruments and all did an amazing job with making it feel like it's actually them. And I was really impressed that they were able to get their voices to sound kind of similar to the actual people, especially Chalamet as Dylan. I think he sounds a lot close to the actual Dylan than I would have ever thought he would sound like. The cinematography is beautiful. Cinematographer Findan Papa Michael shoots a personal and stunning film that showcases New York really well. Papa Michael makes this effective, makes this as personal as it can be on it, focusing on Dylan and his struggles of trying to break out of just being a folk singer. Okay, he started off as that. Okay, and even in the movie, Bob Dylan talks about how he likes folk music, but he's always liked other music, and to see him really capture that all that well and making it feel as distinctive but also as personal as it can be, I think serves the movie well, with having it focus on Dylan so much that I think it really complements who Dylan is as a person. The production is incredible. Showcasing 60s New York, the production team did well at the costumes, props, and sets that made it all lived in, bringing this era to life. And usually a lot of times, these types of movies can easily be as polished and as clean as they can be, but movies like this and The Bike Riders really show how they can actually make this feel as authentic as it can be with regards to how lived in it feels. It's not polished, it's not pristine. It all just feels like all lived in. And all the actors do a good job of really fitting into clothing as well as using the props as well as they can. But really the settings, I think the settings are amazing. And for the production team to pull all that together, I think is incredible. The story is interesting. Seeing Dylan's rise and trying to break out from folk made for an effective and somber tale. I will say it didn't always 100% follow that by the numbers formula, like I said, because the one thing that I am going to mention is that this movie doesn't have Dylan be on drugs, or that a woman is screwing with his life and now his life is spiraling out of control and everything's a mess. No, it was just simply put, he just did folk music for a while, started doing covers, but then he started doing his own, but then he wanted to branch out, but the record label and some of the folk musicians a part of the festival told him he could not break out of that. and he felt trapped within that confined space that he just felt like he couldn't do anything. And so I like that the movie doesn't do the stereotypical thing that you usually see a lot of musicians kind of fall into depravity of that nature. It's just simply put, he just wanted to grow, he wanted to learn, but he felt like he was just trapped in that. And to see the story play out in a way that, yeah, it is still like a biopic type of film, but it's done so well that it didn't bother me in the end. It would have if the movie had other problems, but overall, this is a solid movie with regards to it. That the story I didn't mind. The writing is solid. Writers James Mangold and Jay Cox crafts a script that feels personal and relatable for people to follow. They make it inspiring to watch, and is really inspiring to see a guy like this, like Bob Dylan, who is only 19, very young, be the success that he is. Now, I'm not saying that success is always everything, because it's not, but is the idea that he dreams of wanting to be something. And as he's doing that, he just loses himself in the sense of he just wants to do more than just one thing. And for this movie to say, you can do more than one thing. You don't have to stick to the confines of this, because if you stick to the confines of what people want you to do, you're gonna feel miserable. And for this movie to really showcase that, I thought was really well done, and it does show to people that it is okay, go against the grind and go against what people want you to do and do your own thing. Editing is sharp, each scene feels carefully and precise on how scenes move into the next. It all feels tight and connective. Thankfully that the editing in this movie works really well, because usually biopics, they don't have great editing sometimes, and one particular movie I've mentioned does not, as much as for a long time I thought it did, and boy, am I stupid for thinking that. So for the editing to work in this movie, I thought was done well. I thought it really does help the movie keep on going with regards to how it transitions into the next scene, or how well it intercuts between characters, or having sometimes long shots. The rating feels appropriate. Having an R rating instead of a PG 13 felt like they weren't holding back and just having it all out. It didn't feel like they were trying to wash away anything that Dylan did do or may have said. They actually allowed this movie to actually be self, and to just say that, yeah, this is what Bob Dylan did. He said this, he said that. Because if they did, it would have been such a cop out of them trying to be all family friendly. For Dylan to be family friendly, that would be going against his nature, because Dylan is very much an outspoken person with regards to things through his songs, so it's just only natural that they allowed this movie to be R rated. Now, I'm not saying that R ratings are always the case, but I'm just saying for the sake of Dylan and who he is as a person, I'm glad that they allowed this movie to be what it is. It's an amazing film, but there is one issue that holds it back from being perfect. Okay, there's only one. I know, I'm sorry. There's just one thing for me that it does kind of halt me from saying this is a perfect movie all around. So here's the only negative. The pacing runtime, to me, feels slow. Scenes do feel like they go on just a tad bit too long, if you ask me. I think there could be areas where they could have chopped down some things and, taken out some moments here and there. But yeah, it just kind of felt like it went on a little bit too long than it needed to. With a runtime of 2 hours and 20 minutes, I just don't think it needed to be 2.5 hours. I don't think that this movie needed to prove to everybody that this is as epic as it can be. It's a simple thing. Just keep it as simple as it can be. It doesn't need to have an extended runtime in any way. I think this movie could have worked if it had been, say, an hour 40, hour 45. I think if they could have done that a little bit better, or even close to 2 hours. I think that would be okay. But 2.5, I don't think it shouldn't have been. I was surprised by this film. It took 5 years to be made, and it all paid off in the end with me. I had such a great time with this movie. Hats off to everyone involved in this project, really, and I wish them all the best of luck with this being now award season. So good luck to everyone, and I very much enjoy this movie overall. I am going to give A Complete Unknown a 9 out of 10. I think this movie is amazing. I think this is easily one of my favorite movies of the year, and I very much appreciated knowing a little bit of Bob Dylan, but still continuing to appreciate some of his music and just the simplicity of it. I very much like. So now, people, 2024, it's over, it's done. We are now going to be moving on to my best and worst of list of said 2024, and then we can move on to 2025 and all of its endeavors. So yes, look forward to those videos and other movie TV show reviews coming soon.